Live.
Welcome back to another episode of the Coast to Coast Traders Podcast. I'm Robbie.
I'm Flexing Joe.
Joe, good to see you, man. It's been a crazy week. We got a lot to talk about. I think it's going to be a pretty good one this week. But what's going on with you so far? How's your weekend?
Oh man, things are good, dude. Things are good. The weekend's been, all right. Work hasn't been too heavy, which is good. I got out of work yesterday, and because everybody, if you guys don't remember, I'm up in Maine. So I got out of work yesterday. It was 60 degrees at like 2 p.m. It was amazing, right? Driving with the
hmm
windows down. Bro, today is 30 degrees. Tomorrow, we're supposed to get 3 to 5 inches of snow. What the hell?
That's too bad, man. Because I was sitting outside in the sun reading for about a couple of hours, and it's sunny 67 degrees. It felt good, bro.
Dude, I'm so jealous. Like, I know spring is technically here and it's like coming, but I just can't wait anymore. I can't wait. But how's the rest of your weekend been besides gloating in the sun?
It's been good, just relaxing and chilling, man. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Good, 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 good. How was your week? Everything go well?
No, it didn't go well, but we could talk about that. But I did have a good day on Thursday.
Okay.
That felt good
Mm-hmm.
because I've been struggling a little bit just with some ego stuff and also just being a little bit down recently on futures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe doubting myself a little bit. Um, Not satisfied with micros versus minis, but also kind of being on that cusp of like the account being on life support. So it's like sometimes you want to feel like you push it, but then
Mm-hmm.
that's not great for the system. But like I'd also haven't been trading the best with my system. But like on Thursday, 100% had a great trade, even though it wasn't like the best day for me in general. Um, just was able to like count my confluence, put that in my notes, and that was a solid win. Even though it was a mediocre profit day, but like it was a really strong day. Like execution wise and stuff for the most part, I
Oh,
would
that's
say.
good. That's good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you got some good trades in.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
We're talking about what's holding us back. So, I mean, that's something that holds me back is when I don't follow my rules, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of stuff going on in the group. And one of the main reasons we're bringing this up today is because I've seen some stuff in the group where people have been giving advice and people have been sharing some of their struggles, but you can see time and time again, maybe it's the same person or persons
Mm-hmm.
that are posting these same types of things, and then other people are giving similar advice, and it's like, well, dude, you're not taking the advice that's been given to you,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean, what's holding you back from growth right now? It's yourself, but like
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's more nuance to that. When we're gonna dig into that, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I know that like and that's I think it's a good place to start is like the typically the biggest thing that will like ever hold me back is deviating from rules, you know
Mm-hmm.
like that's just like maybe holding back isn't the exact word, but probably like that's the time where it like sets me back, like it's like, here we go, like, if I take an oversized loss or or just take a subpar setup that results in a loss, and then I'm just like, I friggin' knew better. Or
Yeah.
in a way, sometimes what holds me back too is, sometimes not taking a trade that, not like saying I missed it, like if I was away from the desk, but like legitimately
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like questioning a setup and questioning a trade and then seeing it play out and then being able to look back and be like, that was my trade. Like I've back tested that. Why didn't I see that in real time? And that holds me back because then
Mm-hmm.
it could be further ahead or I could have recouped a bad loss or whatever. So it sucks. But,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, Friday, man.
mhm,
It was a pretty insane day, and you and I both talked about this on Friday, and
mhm,
I was saying, man, I kind of wish we were recording this because our conversation was pretty enjoyable, and like I'm sure a lot of people would have wanted to hear what we talked about. But just quickly recapping, Friday, you and I both had a long sentiment based
yeah,
on our own thesis, but
yeah,
but like there was so many things that we could have counted as confluence to take that long. But unfortunately for me, uh, I got him. I was trying to do too many things, and
mhm,
then I wasn't able to execute properly because of a little bit of um, eagerness, I suppose,
mhm,
and then also focusing on something else to distract me from from retaking a trade or doing what I had originally wanted because I realized I was eager.
Yeah, yeah, we can just
But
talk. We want to like look at the chart real quick. I'll like throw it up there. So
yeah, sure.
I don't know, for whatever reason, it looks like my Thinkorswim is not refreshed to show the gap up that we've had. I don't know what the story is with that, but
Yeah, we're up about 120 points right now, guys, and it looks like the 5 minute orb held.
yeah, I did on tonight's open. But like I've already adjusted my levels, so I have like last week's low marked, but really it was like this big level here coming down into Tuesday's low.
Yeah.
And it it just barely wicked under it, right? Like you can see the low is 602.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, so I got this marked wrong. So this is this one low was at 604. Yeah, 604 and a
Yeah.
quarter. So,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, I know why, because that was during in pre-market. It hit 602. So just like and right
Mm-hmm.
before the open, it wicked under it, and it started to just like I think that was right before the open. Yeah, right before the open there, and that was the perfect long bias. But and it was tough too. Like did you feel like thrown off or a little bit unsure about some setups because you knew it was OPEX and like because like so many people just kind of like come out there with their theories and their mindset of like expecting chop and different things for OPEX? Because I know I did.
You know, I knew it was OPEX like in the back of my head, and I
Mm-hmm.
told myself that like the prior day and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as the market opened, I completely forgot, and that's also a big problem. Is because part of the reason why I was distracted is because I was trying to trade a SPX 0 DTE,
Mm-hmm.
which is the stupidest thing I should be doing on OPEX. But also, the particular setup that I was seeing wasn't an intraday like scalp day trade. This was like a really great swing opportunity for me based on the criteria that was met on Friday.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how. I don't. I wish I had that like kind of short term memory problem because I think that would have helped me out a lot. It definitely would help me out a lot. But
Bro, yeah, you wish it, but then as soon as it happens, dude, I don't know how many times I've been like I'll be in my shipping department at work, and then I'm
yeah,
like, oh, I need to do this, so I go back to my desk. As soon as I get back to my desk, which is literally just like 10 seconds away, I
yeah,
already forgot what I'm gonna do. So then I
yeah.
go back to shipping, and then I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like back and forth, like sometimes 3 times in a row.
Oh
I'm
shit.
just like forgetting what I gotta do, and bro, I'm I'm not that old, but apparently I'm already senile.
Hey man, we got part timers. We're ready to have the Alzheimer's when we get there, bro. We're part timers. But
Yeah.
you know what though? Like even though that sucks about your SPX trade, man. Like we both like so the market like gap down, right? Like huge
Yep.
gap down, right? Here's the 4 p.m. close. Like here's where the session closed, right? And then we peaked over that into this area and we just pushed down and pushed down right like that Tuesday's low. You see it popped up like the buyers were there. We both actually caught really good longs. I think I was in it. Was I in at 31 and you were in at 38? And
That sounds about right.
yeah.
And I was so confident in this setup. I set a bid in at on my cash account.
Hmm.
But the problem was the entry I'd used in the cash account was a really bad entry because it was kind of predicting price. But on top of that, it was giving value to a indicator based level, which you
Okay.
and I know isn't a hard and fast rule. We want to base our our entries and exits based on the price action, not necessarily the level. So like for me, it was Fibonacci retracement. It was 61.8 was like 620s, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like you just mentioned earlier, the wick from Tuesday was 604. And so if I had just bid into like maybe even 610, 605 or something, allowing myself 10, 20 points of risk, that would have been technically correct. Or I mean, I could have taken 620, right? But I would have had to open up my risk. But unfortunately, as I realized what I had done was a mistake, I was about to push my bid lower, but unfortunately, price filled and the whole thing executed. So that was what it was.
Yep, yep, yep. I'm trying to remember. We talked about this. How you drew this fib, right? Was it from? I feel like it was from here.
So there was, yeah, it was on the daily from I
This.
had it from 310, I think, the low of 310 to the high, but like even if we had done it from 311 low to high, it still would have been pretty close there.
Yeah, I think it was right here. I think it was something like the 310 low of day in RTH, and
Yeah.
then this high of day right here.
Hmm.
Right after. Yep. Yep, the weekly high. That this was what 2 days before FOMC, and yeah, you can see when we came down and held the same level. I mean, it's the same thing as like Tuesday's low. You can see just like this consolidation here on the 30 minute. So yeah, it was all definitely pretty good. There was a lot there, in terms of
Yeah.
more than just the fib level.
Oh yeah. That I mean, and that's why I was so eager to go long, even though like our
Mm,
traditional trading strategy would dictate that this is a short trend,
mm-hmm.
because we're under VWAP, we're under EMAs and everything else. But like, we both have different ways to trade, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously EMAs are one of our main go tos. But like, we both have counter trades strategies as well.
This looks good. I don't know why I can't get the 2 minutes to load either. My TOS probably needs to be restarted or something again.
Mm,
But yeah, we did both catch a good entry there. Like we're in the 30s. To be honest, like, and I'm kind of glad, that this was a micros trade because I was able to like accept more risk, with kind of being late. But I was like really confident, like, and then
yeah.
it just took off. So I was like, oh well, there's that. Um,
Yeah. Right.
but it worked out pretty good, and there ended up being some like actually, decent trade setups.
Hmm.
And it worked out pretty well. There was definitely good price action, and overall, like Friday for me personally, like kind of like brought the weekend to close out on a good note.
Yeah. By the
And
way, you got to change the text on this screen that we're sharing here.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry guys. This is episode 11. This is
Yeah,
episode
episode
11.
11.
Yep. My bad. But I think we're gonna go back to just talking anyway. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're not really here. We're gonna talk so much about the charts tonight as much as we're gonna talk about you know, what's
Why you
holding.
suck as a trader.
Yeah, a little bit. What's holding you back from growth and like rules, right?
Mhm.
It's rules are like the craziest thing. Like I know it's talked about in a lot of books. Like it gets talked about in Trading in the Zone and other stuff. But like
Yep.
what lures people into the market that this is like there's this total freedom to do anything you want. Like there's so many different ways to make money. Like you could never have an EMA on your charts and be a profitable trader, right? Like
Sure.
you could, never have VWAP, right? Or never have a purple VWAP, which would be a sin. Because VWAP's supposed to be purple, guys. And even the audience agrees. Look at them.
Yeah.
But like there's so many different ways to do it. But then like once you start like putting your rules in place and then like you don't follow them, it's like, well, who's really to blame for this? It's you. But then people don't want to it's like the easy thing to do is to skate the responsibility. And I think it's because like um where I got this from, bro? I was watching. Have you seen the latest James Bond movie?
No, I don't remember the last James Bond movie I've seen. Sorry.
Damn, this one's pretty good. Whoa, the camera just like zoomed in.
Hey.
Stop zooming in. Stop zooming in. Um, no, this one's pretty good. It's No Time to Die, right? And actually, in the movie, the main villain is actually explaining that like people want things to happen to them, right? Like so, it's
Mhm.
like easy to skirt the blame and like look for something to happen to them and kind of like go for sympathy or this that whatever. And like obviously, it doesn't work in trading, but it's like so easy to just like say that, right? Like, oh, something happened to me, like, oh, I got terrible slippage on this order and blew up my prop
Yeah.
account or whatever, and versus just taking responsibility, and saying, oh, it's my fault, right? Like, if I was that close to blow up, I shouldn't have had this much size where this would happen. Probably a good
Yeah,
example.
100%. It's like, luck doesn't scale, habits do. But
Yeah.
when good habits and luck present itself, that can be a wonderful thing.
Luck? Say that again, bro? I've never heard this before.
No, this is all me, baby.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So
Okay. It's a
luck
Robbie quote.
luck
Write it down.
luck doesn't scale, habits do. But when with good habits, when you're in good habits and luck presents itself, that can be a really wonderful thing.
Luck.
So, good habits can be um, your daily review, your charting, back testing, all that stuff, right? And, you know, price action is king, right? But any news event catalyst can make your price action mean absolutely nothing.
Bro, I'm sticking this on my
So,
monitor right now. Luck doesn't scale, habits do. I love it, dude.
so like, let's say you go on a run every day, right?
Hmm.
And then you find $100. I mean, if you weren't going on a run every day, you might not have found that $100. So like, uh, our everyday run is our backtesting and our journaling and our technical analysis and stuff.
You
And
were.
so naturally, if we're going to be doing things that are productive habit wise,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get lucky from time to time. And if you're in the right place at the right time, you're in the position to capitalize on it. So
Shout out to anybody who's ever found $100 while they're running.
I'm sure it's happened. I'm just saying, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
that's a great
like
way of explaining it.
So I mean, what's preventing people from growing is people's unwillingness in many cases to do what's necessary, and a lot of times it's like you've been hearing the same thing from somebody. Have like a daily stop or a maximum loss in the day, or use brackets or something.
There we go.
Be consistent.
Much darker
Size
now.
down. Have consistent size and those sorts of things. And like at some point, you've heard it time and time again, and either you're that oblivious to it or you're just
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously avoiding the reality of that's what you need to do.
Sure, for sure,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Do you think that like, well, I maybe we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but like, you think it's a problem that a lot of people don't have like, I don't want to say like a punishment, but like a specific recourse or like plan for when they don't follow their rules? Because like it's kind of a lot like, I mean, because I have a gym background, like a heavy gym background, right? So like I just feel like
Mhm.
it's it's very easy to like slip in off your diet. Then like, one meal turns to like one night of not studying all your trades for the day
Mhm.
and charting them and reviewing them, turns to two, turns to a week. Then suddenly you haven't done it in forever, and then your performance is slipping, and and
Yeah.
then like it's so easy to start like deviating and being like, oh, well maybe my system doesn't work anymore. Like maybe I need to change up something. Maybe I need to change up my entries, or maybe I need to go figure out what Joe's doing or what Robbie's doing because like my system isn't working anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And like it's hard because, you want to not reward bad behavior.
Sure.
So where do we find that balance of like, what's like what's beating yourself up too much versus like, you know,
Hmm.
rationally talking to yourself like, you got this, you can do it, but really you got to get to the basics, go back to your fundamentals. What yeah, if you were successful at some point, why were you successful, and just go back to that rather than chasing for the next strategy or the next call out or whatever, right?
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Yep. So
So what are some examples like that, maybe some people are refusing to avoid doing or whatever with regards to their growth? Like, have you seen any common themes about people that have
uh,
reached out to you or that you've just seen online about like, uh, oh, I'm struggling because of this, but like you've seen that they've traded, well at a certain time versus the open or whatever.
yeah, I think like so like I think that definitely seen some folks who have like really consistent data, and then then like and they have a system and they like have edge, and like one trader in particular, I'll just call him out, like it's not my name but KM, right? Like so if he watches this, like he'll know I'm referring to him. But like he's like really good, and he's talked to me about being really good about like his data and everything, and like we've reviewed a ton of stuff together, right? It's all really good. But then
Hmm.
like one of the things like recently, he's had some issues, or I said some opportunities for growth in regards to like emotional responses or like tilt or whatever, right? Which it's great to see him kind of working past. But then like it's really good because like I'll have good conversations with him, and this most recent conversation was related to like the 84% rule, which like really quickly, if you guys don't know what the 84% rule is basically like kind of like if you get wicked out, 84% chance that like the trade will work like the second time, essentially. Is that more
Hmm.
that's basically it, right, Robbie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so a couple of things that I've seen have been people that are not sizing consistently,
Yeah.
and then I've also seen a handful of times some people are like, oh, I'm from red to
Hmm.
green, and that's great, and I'm happy for him. But like on the other hand, it's like, dude, I'm seeing that you're red to green. Like I feel like it's every day.
Yeah.
So why can't you just like chill out for a little bit or wait for that better setup? Because obviously you'd love to be solid green today rather than just barely red to green or break even or whatever.
Yeah. And so like that's where like to go back to KM, the great thing about the
Hmm.
conversation with him was through discussion we actually realized a lot of times the 84% rule wasn't working.
Uh
So
huh.
he ended up taking like back-to-back losses in a very tight time frame. So it was like if the majority of the time it doesn't work, just leave it be and wait for another opportunity or another setup because like how much of it really is the 84% rule or how much it is like the emotion of like, oh, I don't want to take this loss. It still looks good. Like maybe in fact,
Hmm.
because if you're taking the back-to-back loss, it probably doesn't still look good, right? So,
Right.
and it was so it's really easy for us to have this conversation. He quickly goes back to his data, says, "No, most of the time it doesn't work. I'm going to stop doing it altogether." Well, boom, right? Because he's got
Hmm.
the data. But in the trader that you're talking about, somebody goes red to green, red to green, red to green, like every day. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
obviously we're not reviewing the trades and the data as a whole because if we were, wouldn't you be seeing that like maybe if you start trading at the open like 9:30 to 10, you're red
Hmm.
9:30 to 10 and then maybe you take a break 10 to 10:30 and then all of a sudden from 10:30 to 11 you go red to green. It's like
Yeah.
why don't you just wait till 10:30 to trade if that was for example the time slots, right? you know
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a great point. And I fought the trend hundreds of times. Would you agree that you've probably fought the trend hundreds of times since you come up?
bro, minimum like
Easily.
thousands. I
Yeah.
mean, I've achieved professional top tier status at trend fighting, and
Yeah, I
I'm
would say I'm
ashamed.
probably close. I'm probably wrapped better up there with you, bro.
Yeah,
Um, but there was this one particular time in the group where I had, fought the trend, and I Bart Simpson myself. Do you remember that?
I do remember this, dude. So like, yeah, how many times did you write that? I will not fight the trend or whatever. What did you end up writing?
I didn't count, but I wrote, "I will not fight the trend. I will not rationalize bias." So,
Yeah.
the, it was probably a week that I was. I mean, I don't know if I was fighting the trend every day, but like at this point, I'd been pretty consistent at fighting the trend for
Hmm.
sure. And I wrote until my hand was sore, and it was probably two full sheets of binder paper, uh, front to back, on regular big pen.
Yeah.
And you know what I didn't do the next week is fight the trend. And guess what? I had a green week.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, like, if we could find little ways to punish ourselves, but like that aren't like it's like a total slap in the face, but like
Hmm.
a constructive way to rein ourselves in and maybe make ourselves busy and think about it in a productive way. That's a start.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. This is what he means to by like, Bart Simpsoning. If you've never watched The Simpsons, it's this right here. So like basically, how you just wrote that like what he's doing on the chalkboard. Robbie was essentially just doing on the on like writing it down on a notebook, right?
That might be part of our thumbnail today. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. No copyright infringement, of course. I actually just noticed too. There's a little Oh my God, Simper. Homer Simpson in an astronaut outfit. Like he's just got the helmet off, and you can see he's next to him. So that's a pretty funny picture. I'll save it. But
All right.
I mean, but like, so like that was useful as like
Hmm.
as some sort of punishment or you know, I guess like successful action to take because I think that like if you follow your rules and the rules work, there isn't
Hmm.
always like the positive feedback loop that you get sometimes is not observed or really recorded, right? Because you just say like, well, I did XYZ, I made profits, I'll do it again, right? But then like
Hmm.
at any point in time, if you're not reviewing your trades and studying what you've done, you're not reinforcing that rule set and that loop is what's working,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
um, a big part of following rules, though, too, like I have a note here, is that it's not about thinking about every single trade as a single like result, right? Like a short-term outcome, like one trade, is heavily influenced by the randomness of the market. But if you have a strategy prepared in advance that
Hmm.
has, positive expectancy over a large sample size, then you should be consistently and calmly able to follow those rules
Yep.
but I think too many times what people are doing is they're not spending any time in like back testing or reviewing and kind of understanding, okay, this works
Yeah.
about 80% of the time, or okay, this works about 70% of the time. So like
Hmm.
if you know it works, like if you know something very, very well and you know it works only, let's just say 66% of the time, right? So 2 out of 6 times it's going to fail.
Yeah.
If you know that, then you're like, all right, like here we go. And then if it fails, it's like, oh, this is one of the 2 out of 6, out of a big enough sample size, right? And if it works, it works. And so you go on long runs where like it could be like 14 wins in a row, but then you might get 5 losses in a row, but that doesn't mean you just scrap the whole thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because then you're throwing away your hard work. When you have the data that says it's going to fail this many times, and sometimes it seems like the percentage isn't right because of how percentages work. But like if it's failing 5 times in a row, that doesn't feel like it's a 66% win rate, right?
Right. But like,
that's how it is.
yeah. So like right before this, we started talking about like if we're comparing this to like a coin toss, right? So like, if the coin toss is your strategy, everybody, and like you flipping the coin the same way, like it starts heads up or whatever on your thumb, you flip it in the air, and you're always calling heads. It's the same thing. Some of the time it's going to come up tails. Well, unless you're Robbie, apparently, like Robbie says he's got a skill.
Actually, I mean, it's been a while, but I have a pretty good success rate of flipping based on which orientation the coin's facing. I don't know how it is, but maybe I got the magic thumb. But I flip it and I do the catch, and then I flip it over again, and I can call a lot of times.
You know what we missed, dude, is we should have had you do this in this episode right here. Next episode, you need to have a quarter ready. I want 5 flips.
Dude, let's do it. I got a quarter right now, baby.
Yeah, let's go. Oh shit!
I'm lying.
Let's go. I'm calling him on the carpet for this. He can't hear me right now.
Look, I got a nickel. Let's see if it works with a nickel.
Oh no! See, hold on. If it don't work though, you're gonna claim it's the wrong coin. If it does work though, he's got a gift. So let's see what he's got.
I don't know if you can see this, but it's a heads.
It's heads up. All right, heads up. Let's go. Right. Let's go, baby. So,
theoretically, I should be able to call heads. Heads. All right, I caught it. Flipping it. Tails.
See, it's the wrong coin. It didn't work. It needs to be a quarter. For the weight of the flip works a lot better when it's a quarter.
All right, I've lost all my credibility. Forget it. Show's over.
That's it. Bro,
our sponsor might pull too, by the way. We got a sponsor. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
They might, dude. They actually might. They might be like, yo, we're done with you. I was saying too, like right before we got on camera, what used to piss me off. I used to have all these like epic games of, Monopoly with my brother. And we were kids, like 11, 12 years old. So he's only like, he's less than 2 years younger than me. So imagine like 11-year-old Joe, 9-year-old brother, right?
Yeah.
And we're playing effing Monopoly, which is heinous. It's like
that was the worst. I used to steal because I was a banker.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You used to steal? Oh damn. This guy used to do 2 things, man, every time. It was one of my funniest childhood memories. And he used to do 2 things. The first thing is he would hoard all the ones, right? He would hoard them until the bank was out and be like, bro, I need to buy some ones back. And he'd be like, no. Like, what the fuck? All right, well, I'm not overpaying you for this $14 rent. I'm going to underpay you and give you 10. So then, like, that'd be one thing. But then he used to have this trick, bro. He used to, like, put the dice, like, in his finger, like the die, the singular one. And he would just be like, all right, boop. And he would throw it out there. And he'd be like, all right, that was a 3. And he's like, oh, I need a 4 to land on boardwalk. He'd set that sucker up just right. Boop. 1. And now he's got
the magic finger.
He's got Boardwalk and Park Place or something stupid, dude. Like, do you know what, like, Park Place and Boardwalk are set up? They're only, like, 2 spaces apart. You have to roll snake eyes, a 1 and a 1, to go from Park Place to Boardwalk. That mother, oh, my God, dude. Oh, my God. I can't, as an adult, I probably would have flipped the board at him. I think, just get rid of it, dude. Just get rid of it.
I don't think I've ever done a board toss
I've never done one either. We got to do it for effect sometime.
Yeah.
That's for effect. But anyways, like rolling that's kind of like the same thought process there of like, if you're talking about your trade statistics, if you know it's going to work 4 out of 6 times, it's a lot like rolling the same dice, or die, singular, over and over and over again, right? And then all right, if you roll a 5 or a 6, it's going to be a loss. But like, over the over the long time, the long term trading set, like you're gonna be fine. But like, and it also depends too, you know, like if your trade criteria is only getting hit like once or twice a week, boy, you know, that could take you a really long time, you know, to determine maybe
Yeah.
the market has shifted and things are different, right? But like, um, you know, if you're kind of like us, and a lot of times we're scalping NQ or, you know, taking a few different trade setups every day, and obviously each one being
Mhm.
its own thing, its own statistical probability. But like, if your trade presents itself sometimes one, two, three times a day,
Mhm.
you're able to gather a much larger data set for sure, right?
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I was a little bit bummed about my execution on Fridays because this particular trade setup, which I call the Golden Goose NQ Ripper,
Golden
it only
goose.
presents itself a few times a year,
Yeah.
according per my backtesting. So, like, you know, obviously it's not guaranteed, and there is a minimal sample size. But like, whenever I've seen this present itself, I mean, it's done a pretty good job at showing that we're in some kind of reversal. You know, not necessarily a full trend high,
Mm-hmm.
all time highs and all that stuff, but I mean, we've had pretty strong reversals off of it. So like, you know, again, me trying to trade zero DT SPY XPX was not what I should have been doing. I should have been looking at SPY QQQ 1 2 weeks out, maybe longer.
All right. So serious question though, have you trademarked this line, the Golden Goose NQ Ripper?
It's trademark now, baby.
Oh damn! All right, and so that's a bullish trade, right? So do you have like a Golden Goose NQ Dipper for like the short side or
I
what?
haven't I haven't seen the compare like the counter trade version of this yet. Yeah.
All right, all right. Well, we
But
got
that'd be sweet if it presented itself.
okay, okay. So, what else we got on here? We have more notes here related to this following or not following of rules, which is a big problem. You got a whole bunch. You want to read some of these off? You talked about inconsistent
uh
size already.
yes, well, let me expand it. I minimized already. Let's see. Oh, being a single directional trader. You know, if you're an EMA trader, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we should be able to trade the market either direction.
Yeah,
And especially with futures, there's nothing stopping us from shorting.
yeah, no.
And, you know, some people are refusing or very hesitant to trade short when we're trending downward.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we've talked about this a couple times in the past, of course, but,
Yeah.
you know, minis instead of micros
You mean micros instead of
and
minis?
micros instead of minis.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
And that, yeah. And that could be an ego thing. And that's actually something that I'm kind of going through with myself. Cause like, you know, I'm on the verge of blowing an account and I'm not upset if I do blow it because I've, you know, I've gotten many payouts out of this account. So it's like the next accounts going forward are all free and everything. But sometimes having the same risk dollar wise on the micros versus the minis
Mm-hmm.
can also cause me to accept a weaker entry
Oh yeah, we were talking
because
about this on
you have,
Friday. Yeah.
yeah, so like we should be aware of that if we're sizing down. Just because we're trading smaller size doesn't mean that and we have more risk available to us doesn't mean that we can allow ourselves to be sloppier with our execution and our fill specifically.
Bingo, bingo. I bet a lot of traders do that, man. Like, but like, if we get down into like, what do you think the root cause of that sloppiness is? Do you think it's like impatience? You know, like you don't want to wait for the better entry, or maybe a little bit of FOMO, like, what if I don't ever get a better entry? You know, because
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
yeah, like,
Yeah, I think it could be a combination of that. Like in fact, on Thursday specifically, when I had uh, that you know okay day,
mm-hmm.
my first trade was a little bit of impatience,
Okay.
and you know I was trying to execute based on a red candle and a previous wick, and rather than just bidding into that wick, you know, I marketed as it was on approach.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps because of some slippage or maybe my not being as fast as I thought it was, you know, I just didn't get the fill that I thought I would be getting.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if I had just set the bid, then that would have been all taken care of for me, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. I think that I could say like it's a combination of both, like for me too, like the lack of like the patience, and then also like a well, I see this setup, like what if it doesn't give me, and I want to like
Yeah.
pass this setup on. And because like I don't even know that I would really even say it's like so much FOMO as it is like really just boils down to like patience, because like do I really want to sit here and wait for like another opportunity, especially like if this is the trade I'm looking to take for the day and be done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
Yeah. That's fair. It's not always FOMO because like sometimes we don't get that second chance, and it's
you're
like,
right.
well, is it going to be this time? So like, and like, oh, of course, if I would have marketed it, would have worked because that's when it just mooned, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or shorter, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or yeah, exactly. Or just fell off the face of the earth. And sometimes that happens, right? And it's like,
Hmm.
and I've definitely had that happen to me, like for like absolutely for certain. Had a bid set, waiting, been like really thinking to myself, boy, this is just gonna fall off the face of the earth here. Like we're gonna go down. And then like considering moving my bid and whoosh, there it goes. And I'm like, well, and then like that's okay, you know, like it went, right? Um
Yeah, or how about inconsistently taking profit or failing to scale when there's a key level or
oh
pivot or
yeah.
whatever?
Yep, for sure. There's a lot of different things that like all of these should be like incorporated into your plan.
Hmm.
Um, but I think like the key takeaway has got to be for everybody like following, or I guess establishing what your rules are, and then why are they your rules, right? Because like
Yeah.
they shouldn't just be your rules because Joe and Robbie said this is a good idea. Like, you know, Joe and Robbie said it's a good idea to take profit at a consistent area or for a consistent number of points, right? Like, well, but why? Why did we say that, and why is that going to be important to you, right? Because
Hmm.
if it's not going to be important to you, you're not going to follow it. But like, you have to have an established why. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take profit at X number of points, or I'm always going to take profits like near or at a pivot break because it's a consistent way of de-risking, locking in profits, securing green. And when I do that, I'm going to move my stop down to break even or whatever, or just slightly above, or like in the green to account for some slippage, whatever, to ensure I have a green trade. Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I want
Hmm.
to have a green trade. The purpose here is to make money, right? Like, well, why do I want to make money in the market? Like, you just kind of like keep it going and then really make it your own.
Yeah. Though, Joe, it's hard to make a trade your own if you're dead. And so, this episode is sponsored by water,
Oh
the original
shit.
hydration sensation. Feeling parched? Tired of those pesky dry mouth days? Water's got your back. It's the elixir of life that keeps you going. So grab a glass, take a sip, and thank water for keeping you alive to hear another
Yeah.
episode of the Coast Traded Podcast. It's not just a good idea; it's the law of survival.
Bro, I got no water near me, so I'm feeling it. I'm feeling
Oh,
parched.
this
I
might be the last episode. Then I don't know.
this could be it. This could be it. So if you're watching, this might be the last time.
Yeah,
Make sure you like and subscribe though, because if it's not the last time, you want to be here for the next one.
hell yeah, baby.
But you know, the other thing I was going to say too is like when we were going back to like what are examples of like people, that, like hold people back from growth. It's like it's definitely not putting that work in. Which if you're putting the work in to review your trades and you're
Hmm.
marking up your charts and you're marking your entries and your stop and where your take profits were or should have been and what you did wrong and what you could do better and like or what you did really and you do this really well. You always have done this better than me, and I've tried to steal a few pages out of your book in regards to what did I do well on this trade, because
Yeah, thanks.
my brain works like Joe, you suck, and I don't care. I don't care if you made a gajillion dollars in this trade. You still
Yeah.
managed it poorly. You still sucked, and you're much better about like everything you did well, which is important.
Well, I appreciate that. But like passive, there's a difference between passive learning and active learning.
Mm-hmm.
So passive learning and passive entertainment education is listening to like our podcast, watching
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos about trades,
Mm-hmm.
setups, and psychology and stuff. But like sometimes that can be a good way to get going and get you interested and get some short term motivation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like the real work is when you yourself are putting the actual time to backtest, look at your trade reviews and all that kind of stuff. Uh oh. Is this about to get X rated?
I think it might be, dude. I think it might be, dude. Oh no, he just grabbed. He think he grabbed a toy and ran away. Every once in a
Okay.
while, I'm like, stop licking each other's butts. You know, it's like always happens. Um,
Yeah.
shit, I'm fucking so distracted now. Can't even.
Somebody's gonna clip that. Oh, we're breaking out too.
Oh my god. Oh, are we?
Yeah.
My charts won't load right now, so I'm just like, I'll have to pull this up on my phone. Are we breaking out to the upside? I knew we would, bro. That looked like such a.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pulling back to the 5 minute wick
Oh
shortly, I think. We're pretty
yeah.
close, but yeah, it looks like a really solid long. I mean, I kind of wish the gap would fill and then like, well, maybe not right
Hmm.
now when I'm not trading, but like tomorrow morning maybe. I'd like to see that. But of course, I'm eager, not eager, I'm open to trading any direction.
Bro, this is like your golden goose long trade though is like playing out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely. Mhm.
Bro, Tesla gapping up too. Like obviously it's overnight, whatever, but Tesla gap down, came down, filled the gap at 249, some change, and then it's all the way up at 255, right? 254 right now.
Yeah. That it looks nice. It looks really good and you
It
know what?
does.
You know, regarding forgetting what anybody thinks about Tesla politics or anything like I mean, just looking at the chart, that's a really bullish candle we had on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and just the fact that it's gapping up now um, looks pretty solid for a bigger push up than just simply like maybe the 20 EMA. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but like it looks like it's going to make a big move.
Yeah. So hey, I don't want to get derailed. I want to talk about Tesla, but I don't want to get derailed. I'm like, let's wrap up like maybe this
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like this rule set thing. So then I got
Hmm.
I got a good theory for entertainment purposes only on Tesla.
Okay,
Not
okay.
financial advice. But like um I did also have this like little note too about like thinking carefully and really reviewing why you are struggling to follow your rules. Like, does
Hmm.
that rule set truly have edge in the first place? Do you understand why following your rules will lead to success rather than focusing on like singular events like an immediate win or loss? And
Hmm.
then are aren't you or are you or are you not overly or becoming overly obsessed with winning or losing a trade that's like right in front of you? And then do you truly understand the meaning of probabilistic edge in the market, right? So
Yeah,
properly understanding trading and I have this like thoroughly preparing, is extremely important. So that's like the kind of like again solidifies the need to have your rules that you stick to. And defining your rules and what they are should evolve over time. Like, and to come full circle to that conversation with KM, because he has the data and he's putting in the work with the backtesting and the studying and all that, he's able to quickly identify, hey, you know what? The 84% rule isn't something that works for me. So if I cut
yeah,
that out, I'm now going to cut out a whole bunch of losses, right? Because
yeah.
he's
Hmm.
not, because it's essentially like playing blackjack and then doubling down on what was a losing hand. He's not doing that, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, the way you just outlaid that is just, I mean, that should be on a poster, bro.
Thank you.
We should write that out, and
Thank you.
I'm gonna write that out, and I'm probably gonna print that. But yeah, that's an excellent way to articulate having rules and why to have them.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine saying that any better myself. So
Well, thank you.
props to you. But before we do, well, I do want to share a fellow trader's insights about their trading journey. So
Yeah, let's go.
this is from Duff Beers in the group. He
Yep.
says, "I'm a serial blow upper. Jokes aside, when it comes to prop trading, I believe everyone goes through this phase. Traders that constantly blow up accounts are addicted to the dream of what trading could do for their lives.
Hmm.
The idea of a 12-step program is what a serial blow upper need to change their perspective of trading. Step one, like any other addiction, the first step is to admit that you have a problem.
Hmm.
Step
Hmm.
two, the final step, removing your ego from your trading and trusting in a process. Easily the most difficult part of changing your perspective. Uh, Instating rules, abiding by a system, sizing down, setting a max loss, and
Hmm.
backtesting are necessary, not optional. Creating a routine that works with your lifestyle is essential to flipping the edge to being consistent. Having data on as many aspects of your trading as possible and setting realistic goals, reflecting on them when they are not met will tremendously help a serial blow upper become consistently profitable, a consistently profitable trader. And with that, he says, stay hard.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. A serial blow upper. Well,
Hmm.
I've been there too. I've been there too, for
Yeah.
real.
For sure.
A lot.
BDBH is the only one.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough to do, right? Like, you know,
Hmm.
it's like it's just it's too easy to do, and plus, like most of these funding companies, right? Because they're not really prop firms; they're funding companies. They're
Yeah.
they make it easy for you, right? Like on Top Step,
Your credit card's saved, you know?
yeah,
Couple
yeah.
of clicks, you're back in the game.
You're back in the game, baby. Click, click, click.
Hmm.
$49. Reset. We out. We're good. Let's go. You know,
Yeah.
and honestly, Top Step was a whole lot easier to do a reset or a new evaluation purchase. It was way
Hmm.
easier than Apex ever was, because Apex, you still, even though you'd have to go down and check all these boxes, and it was like a pain in the ass, you know.
Yeah.
But Top Steps, they got you linked. They're like, yeah, easy peasy, right? Like blow it up, re up, you know.
And the account's available faster than Apex was, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hmm.
It's almost instantaneous. And they try to tell you to close your Top Step X platform or whatever, so that way it like resets. You don't even need to close that shit. It's just like boop boop. It's
Oh,
there.
yep.
It's there.
Yeah.
I don't even need to waste clicks on closing and reopening it. It's there. Oh look, hey, you know what? F it. This last long trade for 5 cons didn't work. We'll try it again.
It can be dangerous, guys.
Yeah.
So like if you have like a max, if you have rules about your risk and stuff,
Mm,
just because you have a second account doesn't necessarily mean that it's wise to apply to just switch to the next account and say, "Hey, I'm starting over again. It's a brand new day."
yeah. No, it's really not. Like it's really all part of the same thing. It's all part of the same risk, which is your wallet, right? Like,
Hmm.
you know, you put your credit card info in there, your debit card info. It's the money's still got to get paid, right? Like
Yep.
the objective is still to get payouts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So so all right, dude, Tesla, bro.
Yeah. All right,
Did,
lay it on me.
did you see that there was like a big Reddit post about people buying puts and like buying
Ah, yeah, the Elon haters or something like that, right?
yeah, dude. So like they're trying to drum up interest for people to buy puts on Tesla on
These
Reddit.
bros are getting killed right now.
And dude, you know what, man? I saw that when that got shared. I saw that and I said the bottom's in, because,
Yeah.
and this is entertainment purposes only, okay? But here,
Hmm.
I think, were we on the pod a few weeks ago when I was talking about the top was in on Nvidia because like random people at work were talking about that?
Yeah, we've talked about that a couple times for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So like, dude, I remember this, man. And I remember being like, oh shit, it's Saturday morning, and these everyday people are talking about going long in Nvidia. I'm holding
Hmm.
Nvidia calls. I'm cooked. I'm cooked.
Yeah.
I'm cooked. I'm gonna wake up Monday
Yeah.
morning. I'm gonna wake up Monday morning and be cooked. And guess what? I was cooked. Right? It's like, is
Yeah.
that's like the thing, right? When everybody and their brother like was talking about buying Bitcoin at 100K. Look where Bitcoin is now,
Yep.
right? It's down 20K. I mean, it's the Bitcoiners are gonna be like, bro, Bitcoin is gonna go to 1 million. Okay, relax. But
Yeah. Hmm.
we're like, okay, fix your pocket protector, relax, okay. But like, but like when everyday people are talking about regular stocks, though, this is like, okay, this is the topping indicator. When everybody's
Hmm.
talking about on Twitter or Reddit or whatever, X, not Twitter, but that they need to buy puts on Tesla after Tesla's fallen. What was it? Was 480s? So it's now, it finished the day on Friday at like 250. So it fell
Yeah.
230, but it fell further than that.
Hmm.
It fell like I think under 220. So it
Yeah.
fell.
217.
Yeah. Okay. So it fell $270 practically. Like,
Hmm.
bro, the time to buy puts on Tesla and think you're going to make a lot of money on it is come and gone.
Yeah. Like if you were even like looking at some kind of ATR, like an extended ATR, you're at probably at the bottom.
You're at the like. I mean, because
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, it had this big squeeze after the election, and it's come right back to where it was. So,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying it's like the bottom. I'm just kind of saying like using that same sort of thought process as now is like, if everybody's talking about Tesla as a short, it's not good. But then aside from that, like in news related stuff with Tesla, Robbie, have you noticed too just how many people are talking about going out and buying Teslas, like actors, actresses, prominent
I
Republicans,
actually
etc.?
haven't.
No?
I haven't. No. I mean, I've seen people on the hating side, but I guess I haven't followed people that are on the pro Elon side, except of course Trump when he did that whole thing at the White House where he's like, I don't know what model it was, but Elon brought a couple of Teslas over there, and I guess Trump drove one. I think.
Yeah, he was talking about how great they are. Oh my god,
Hmm.
dude. I don't know if I saved that clip. That whole like do you remember that where he was just like, "Come on down, it's a Tesla." And he kept, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I saw somebody post that it's a Tesla, but then he was also saying EVs suck. Well, not in those words specifically, but like there was a clip of him saying how people have range anxiety. Not in those words,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
he wasn't talking well against EVs. But then now he's all chummy with Elon
Yeah.
and Tesla, of course.
His
But
perspective has
they've
definitely
come a long
changed.
way
Yeah.
because like range anxiety for sure is a thing, but like on the same token, like what Elon has said is like the range is enough to get you to where you want most of the time,
Yep.
and I think I would agree with that for sure. Like on a road trip, like if you're going solo, then yeah, maybe you don't care about or maybe you don't want to stop for more than 10 minutes, which is what it might take to gas up and pee.
Yeah.
Versus a supercharger, maybe could take a half hour. I really don't know because I've never charged one or anything.
Me neither.
But like versus just if you're with a family, then you're going to be stopping for probably a half an hour anyway, even if you just got to pee, because everybody's got to pee. You got to wrangle everybody back in and stuff. So like at that point, it's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's
So
how fast does a supercharger charge a Tesla? Right here.
yeah.
Okay, dude, a supercharger can add up to 200 miles of range in 15 minutes. Let me
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, and yeah, I mean that's pretty decent then.
Bro, you're good. That's the Model S, Model 3 175, Model X 175. 15
Hmm.
minutes. I want to see the Model Y though. Because the Model Y, if people don't know this, and this is another reason why I feel like it's not a good idea to continue being bearish on Tesla, is the Model Y was the number one selling vehicle. Period. Not just in
Oh wow.
2024, but also in
Hmm.
2023. They went back to back on this, dude. The Model Y.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. Up to
So on a on
162
a
miles.
V3 supercharger, according to Grok, on a V3 supercharger, the Model Y long range typically takes 20 to 30 minutes to charge from 10% to 80%,
Bro.
adding 200 to 225 miles of range based on its 330-mile EPA,
Bro.
depending on conditions.
Yeah, that's pretty damn solid, dude. Like
Yeah.
I could get down with that. And honestly, for real talk, and like, but
Hmm.
this was before like the Elon hate and the Teslas getting burned and all that other crap that's been going on.
Yeah.
We were legitimately talking. My wife and I have been talking about getting a Model Y. Like we want to go test drive one. Um,
Yeah. I've been a huge fan since the Roadster, man. I mean,
yeah,
I always thought it was so cool from the beginning.
yeah,
And one of my next vehicles, I don't know if it's going to be a Tesla, but it's somewhere along the lines of either like a Tesla or a hybrid of some kind.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I could totally see
But for
that.
me, being in California, there's superchargers everywhere. So I mean, I really could drive anywhere that I would typically go
Hmm.
and not be without.
For sure, dude. And honestly, like, not that it would like save a whole lot, but I've been like, yo, if they put in a charger station at where I work, that's like
Hmm.
that's like a selling
Oh
point
yeah,
for me. Because I'm just gonna
great
drive it to
charger.
work and charge for free.
Yeah,
Even if I'm only
yeah,
charging
that's
there for
cool.
free 1 day a week, whatever, just going from damn near dead to full charge. But that's cool. That's fine. It's once a week. I don't have to worry about it, right? But
Yeah, and there's another interesting thing to think about too. Is like if sh shit hits a fan, right? And um, there's no gas pumps because there's no electricity. Well, your ICE vehicle's not going to last that long anyway, right? Because gas is going to go bad. But with an electric vehicle, I mean, we got solar panels.
yeah,
You could charge. I mean, that battery is going to get degraded over time, so it's not going to last forever either. But potentially, it could outlast an ICE vehicle, at least in the immediate, because when the initial disaster hits, gas is going to be out everywhere. There'll be
yep,
lines, and whoever first come first serve
yep.
in some storm or whatever. Sucks if you're in line for 2 hours and then you get there and there's no gas.
Oh yeah,
Well,
dude.
if you got solar panels at home, I mean, you could charge that and then you can run your house off of it potentially.
Yeah, bro. Another trader in the group and I were just talking about this. Like, actual like goal would be to have solar panels on the house,
Yeah.
an electric vehicle, preferably a Tesla, and
Hmm.
and then like I would still like to have a truck though, dude. I really like my truck.
Hmm.
I really like my truck. I got a
Yep.
Ram 1500, and I love
Hmm.
Betty. Betty's been so good to me, dude. So good. She's a good truck.
Is she? You named her Betty, huh? All right, that's cool.
I named her Betty. I named her Betty, and you could probably guess what color she is, you know, and
Yeah.
it goes together, you know. She's all
All
right.
right,
She's all
that's
right.
cool. That's cool.
I love it, dude. I honestly, honestly, it's I don't know how many vehicles I've owned in my life, dude, but it's my favorite vehicle for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. How many
I
vehicles have
mean,
you owned in
I
life?
grew up uh
We'll try to count
only
too.
4 or 5, I think.
Damn, in your
Let's see.
whole life?
I had a 99 Ford Ranger.
Oh, here we
I
go.
had a 2007 F-150,
Okay.
and then I had a 2003 Mustang, maybe.
Well, you were a Ford guy.
Yeah,
'Cause now you got the
and
Fusion,
then
right?
and now, yeah. So just 4 vehicles, and this current Fusion is a 2011. It's got like 97,000 miles on it. So I don't drive a lot,
Bro, I've went through some cars, man.
but I learn on a stick. And
Oh, okay.
when I besides that, like in my driver's ed days, we had this 1980s Chrysler van that was just massive, dude. And like on cartoons, the exaggerated oversteering, like just to keep it straight. That's literally what it was like driving that boat.
That's funny, dude. That's really funny.
Yeah, but my mom taught me how to drive a stick, so shout out to my mom.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I learned how to drive a stick by myself. I literally remember being told put it in reverse because
Hmm.
it's the easiest way to feel the clutch pedal, and put it in
Okay.
reverse in like an empty parking lot, and that's what they did. So they literally got out of the car and they were like, "Yeah, you're good," and they got out of the car, dude. They weren't even in the car,
Huh.
and it's just like, yeah, put it in reverse, and like, hey, if it stalls out, press that clutch pedal back in, turn it back on again, and like
Hmm.
feel the clutch pedal and just give it some gas. And so there I was like in reverse 10, 15 miles an hour. And then I was like, all right, and then I just like put it into first or whatever. They're like, yeah, you got it
Hmm.
in reverse. Now you're good. Like put it into first, and then like
Yeah.
just like go slow, and like you kind of as it starts to rev up and you get over maybe like 3 grand, shift to
Hmm.
second. And I was just like, okay, and that was like it. They weren't even in the car. They were just literally like verbal instructions.
Just yelling at you
You're good.
behind a T rail.
Yeah, for real. Just like hiding away. Like if he crashes it, I wasn't involved.
Yeah.
Bro, I had. Let me think about my vehicles, dude. I had. I don't even remember what year this Jetta was, but my first vehicle was a Jetta, and then I had all these beater cars because I was like so broke, dude. Like back when you could get a car for like 100, $200.
Yeah.
I remember buying this Jetta for $200, and it ran too.
Hmm.
But the both back doors didn't open. It had like some sort of issue with the latches.
Nice. Nice.
I had the Jetta. Then I had a 2 door like VW Golf, and that thing was Unca junk. Beat the hell out of it. Had a loud exhaust, everything.
Hmm.
Then I had a 2 door black Ford Escort. Changed the speakers out and put a subwoofer in that bad boy. Thought I was cool.
Nice.
Thought I was cool. Yep, that thing blew the head gasket on that one. That's the
Yeah.
that's the only car I may or may not have gotten air in. You know, like was going a little quick over a hill.
Yeah. Hmm.
Definitely came crashed down, dude. Head hit the ceiling. It was not good.
Yeah.
Then let's see. I had a Toyota Tercel, and that thing was also a piece of shit, dude. It had like those like rubber bumpers where you like they were like faded gray on a
Uh huh.
red Toyota Tercel. It was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Then I had this Toyota Corolla for a while, which I think was like somebody did something to it. So like allegedly it only had 26,000 miles on it. But
Hmm.
it had like a lot of wear and tear. Like the steering wheel at the top
Yeah.
was like worn. And it was like
Hmm.
how did this get warm with 26,000 miles? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Hmm.
So I always thought that it came probably like 126 and somebody did like a rollback on me. But
Uh huh.
that thing worked for a while for a while. Then, dude, I think I had like a Ford Freestyle. It was like this wagon with 3 rows.
Hmm.
I had a Suburban, had a Hyundai Sonata, had a Hyundai Elantra GT. That was actually a really nice car. I was a little big in it, but it was nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Shit. And then I had a Ford Edge. I love that car, bro. That was a good car.
Oh yeah, that was. I like that one. I thought about buying one of those back in the day.
Yeah, they were
That was like
nice.
their crossover, sort of in
Yep.
between the Explorer and whatnot.
Yeah, and it was all-wheel drive. It was great in the snow. It was awesome.
Hmm.
Had that, and then I had a Ford Fusion for a while.
Oh, okay.
2017, I think.
Hmm.
And then I got the Ram. And
Nice.
now I've had the Ram. July makes having the Ram 5 years, bro. I love that truck. Trying to ride it out. It's paid off. I'm trying to ride it out.
Yep. Right on. Right on.
I don't know how much longer we get on it. How many miles you got on your Fusion currently?
I think it's 97,000.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. I don't, dude. My commute here is to the office is like 10 minutes, but there's no traffic.
Oh,
But when there's school in session and I have to drive between three schools,
yep.
then it can be 20 minutes, unless I leave early, of course. So,
Okay. Well,
but I mean, it's how
five
many
miles?
miles?
Yeah, 5 miles, 6 miles.
It's like 5 or 6, yeah, something like that.
Damn, bro. My shit's like,
It's nice.
I think mine's like 19 each way. I'm at 156,000 miles.
Hmm.
So I think I can get at least another year out of her. I hope so. Hope so.
Yeah,
I hope Betty hears me right now talking good things about her. Like,
Betty, we love you.
I love you,
Do
Betty.
me right.
Take care of me, Betty. Nah, dude.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, for real. You know what happened within a week of me paying it off?
Hmm.
Check engine light. Check engine light came
Of
on, bro.
course.
Of
course.
I was sitting there. I was just like, patted. I was
Yes.
like,
No
how do you?
monthly payments, baby.
That's it.
Then.
I own you outright, baby. And then I get in. I'm
Yeah.
like, how could you do this to me?
Hmm. Good stuff, man.
Yep, for real, bro. For real. All right, man. Shoot, dude. We've been at this for an hour. Damn.
All right. Well, we had a lot to say.
We had a lot to say.
So
Anyways,
I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we appreciate you. And we'll catch y'all on the next one.
hell yeah. See you later, guys.